Debbie Dice is our next speaker, followed by Jennifer Norton with Kyla Grafton on deck. And once again, everyone's brevity is appreciated given the late hour.
Thank you for having me here. My name's Debbie Dice. Sorry. Now you got me going. I'm a second-generation native to the area. My father was born on a ranch above Cayucas, and my mom was born in Los Osos Valley. They had 4 children. Of us 4 kids, none of us are in the ag business anymore. We can't afford it. On the other hand, my folks still have 1,000 acres and they run cattle. They'll never run events on it. On the other hand, I'm a florist. I have seen, and my family's seen, a lot of changes in this county. We've watched a lot of different people move in. Everybody's different. We've watched the changes here. We've seen ag land, farmland, ranch land go to vineyards. You know, there was a chart here that said, well, now look at, since this point, we now have this many more vineyards and wineries doing events. Well, it's with the change of what's going on with the county and stuff. But it is difficult. You can't compare agriculture here in this county to that of the valley, to that of the Midwest. It's like comparing apples and cars and telephones. All the agriculture's different, depending on where you're at and how you have to make ends meet. We've watched other people come in. We'd love to do it. The kids that I grew up with, whose parents were farmers, can't make it here. But these other events help the people to be able to keep their land or keep it going, and it brings people in. There's things that I've seen on our ranch land that I can't pass on to my kids, you know, when we had leases in different areas. And when I see people come in and do these events on property like this, and they ask questions to see what's going on, not having the knowledge, you know. When I went to Poly, I have a good girlfriend from San Pedro, and she came in and she says, what do you do here? The town closes up at 6 o'clock. You know, there's nothing to do. I'm used to the suburban area. She grew to like this area. Her son's come to Cal Poly now. He's now part of our community. He's graduated and he's here. This county brings in good things and a lot of diversity. Help us keep that. Help us to allow people to see what we have. Don't take it on an overall, this is the law or whatever. Take it on an individual basis. Every one of us is different. Every business is different. Every house is different. Take it on an individual basis. Have the guidelines, but please don't sit there and slam the door shut on things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deese. Jennifer Norton is our next speaker, followed by Kyla Grafton with Dorothy Jennings on deck.
Jennifer Norton, thank you for your time. I don't speak pretty. I was very intimidated to come up here because I don't have anything prepared. I am a event planner, and I have a lot of people that call me and to do weddings in the area. One of the main comments that I hear from brides is it's so cheap to get married in San Luis Obispo County. If this minor permit goes through, and what I'm understanding, and I may not be understanding this correctly, is if I were to tell brides it may cost up to $5,000 for their wedding on top of the close to $100,000 budget that they have for most weddings, they would go to LA or San Francisco. Most of the people come here because it is cheap to get married, along with the beauty of the Central Coast. I'm speaking mainly from my pocketbook and for a lot of friends in the room's pocketbooks. This would be detrimental to our business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Norton. Kyla Grafton, followed by Dorothy Jennings with he already spoke. With Charlie Whitney on deck.
My name is Kyla Grafton. I live in Morro Bay. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing my voice to be heard. I help manage my family's cattle operation on my dad's ranch in Cayucas. There's not a lot of money in Hamburger. So my husband also works as a naturalist, and I have been employed as a teacher. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of money in education either. Under the proposed ordinance drafted by Kim Picciuto and the Ag Tourism Coalition, all of our financial concerns could be solved, and these are Ms. Picciuto's own words, by running a home-based wedding business on my ag zone land 365 days a year. I don't want to host 365 weddings a year on the ranch, and if I did, there would be no time to manage the cattle. I want to make hamburger, and I want to do it in a way that is healthier and preserves the environment and ag land. Grass-fed beef that is organically and locally grown and processed here uses produces less methane and has a smaller carbon footprint than traditionally raised beef. Watersheds like ours that are fenced off from damaging hooves increase wildlife habitat and protect the water source. My family-run ranch would like to develop our organic grass-fed beef product and provide an environmentally and agricultural-friendly product, but this is a costly endeavor. Income from hosting a few events a year would help support this grass-fed beef operation in its inception. If this new events ordinance gets passed, it will not preserve ag land. It could actually destroy it. But I don't think that ag preservation is the intent of the ordinance. If it were, there would not be an exemption for no-charge events. As it is written, the ordinance would regulate only events that generate income. To suggest that restricting supplemental income from temporary events is needed to encourage real farmers to keep land in agriculture and to become better farmers is as insulting as it is inaccurate. Also, there is no empirical evidence, no studies done that show that ag land will be destroyed if you allow some weddings to take place. In fact, a direct experience with ag land, like getting married in an old dairy barn, could only increase one's appreciation and their stewardship for the open space. Hosting events on our land allows ranchers and farmers to supplement our meager incomes so that our families can not only survive but thrive here and give us the ability to reinvest into our land and our agricultural businesses, which will in turn preserve the agricultural spirit that defines this beautiful county. If the students in my classroom were to draft a paper without an objective or effective methods of carrying out that objective, or provide background with no data to support their claims, I would give their work back and tell them to start over. Commissioners, I'll hope you do the same today and send this ordinance back to Karen Knoll and her staff so that they can do their jobs and eliminate Ms. Prosciutto and Ms. Rolfe and the Agritourism Coalition from a role that they were never qualified to have. Thank you.
Dorothy Jennings is our next speaker. Folks, we really appreciate your decorum today. Dorothy Jennings is our next speaker, followed by C.Z. Whitney with Susan Harvey on deck. Welcome, Ms. Jennings. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, just barely. I'm Dorothy Jennings, and I'm from Templeton. Neighborhood impact is a chronic issue when the Templeton Area Advisory Group reviews each and every winery application requesting industry and additional events. Typically, TAG's recommendations, which request additional restrictions, particularly when it comes to noise and sound, are not included when the applications are approved. Winery events do adversely impact North County neighborhoods. Many complaints have been filed. Please be mindful of impacts as you review the proposed ordinance before you. In addition, before your commission comes to a final decision on the proposed events ordinance, you ought to ask the planning department for a presentation on the county's winery events tracking system. The purpose of the system is to provide public with a means to understand when and where winery events are currently allowed. The events tracking system is an administrative data system. It includes each winery's location, allowable and identifiable industry events, and specifically other allowable events on winery property, types, number, and attendance, plus a complaint log and enforcement actions. In addition, ask how the winery events tracking system pays for itself. Please ask the planning department for a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings.